Okay, so this is commentary for X6 Unarmored all stages. So the intro here is pretty basic, so I got nothing to really explain. Aside from saber wall climbing, this run, just like every other run I do, and most people, or a lot of people, I make use of auto charge and also rapid fire, because it's an in-game option, therefore it's allowed. And yeah, I just use that to do a lot of stuff here. It speeds it up because it applies to the saber and buster, but only for X. You can also saber wall climb with that, similar to ZX, where you just use the saber to cancel the horizontal momentum off the wall. That way you can get purely vertical speed and climb overall faster. And that's it for the intro, pretty basic. To also, so this boss coming up, we do body hits because it's faster. This isn't unique to this category, but that's the reason. So now I'm going to explain what this category is. So Unarmored X, so what this means is we have to complete all the stages, and we can only use Unarmored X, or as he's listed, just X. We're using Falcon here in the intro, but that's the default, and we can't change that without cheating, so we just deal with it. But everywhere else, it'll use Unarmored X. So yeah. And basically I'm going to be using some not really unique glitches, but using them more so, like the equip glitch I use more than I would in the typical all stages run. So something to note here, typically the second visit, pretty much like in every all stages run, we're going to go to Turtleoid, and we're going to go pick up Hyper Dash, and in all stages typical you would pick up Saber Plus also for 0. But we're never going to use 0, so that's pointless. Also, we want to go to two alt areas. We want to go to Wolfang's alt area for the jumper, and we have to do that later on in the run. Therefore, if we were to do that later in the run and we were to fight 0 next, we would have to fight Hymax, which in the alt area, which would be a pain, or we could death abuse a lot, which is slower. So funny enough, originally that wasn't the reason, but we do a death abuse here, a game over abuse. So we get hyper dash in this stage, and then we game over abuse, and then we exit. And it's faster anyway, but it comes out nicely in this semi-recent reroute because we end up with earlier jumper visit. We can just fight 0 then, so it just works out. So yeah, so. What's different about X, Unarmored X, opposed to Falcon, is that he has a lot lower defense, but his charge shot is kind of better in a way. His half charge, I guess you can see here, is the exact same. His movement's the same. You just can't air dash, but it's not a big deal. But as you can see, his charge shot does a little more damage, and it can pierce enemies. Unlike the Falcons, which is kind of botched, but it's still pretty decent. But Unarmored Buster is really good. And you're going to see a lot more of it. So actually here I'm grinding souls. It says 8 souls. That's technically 64 souls because each large soul you get is 8. So yeah. But the reason for getting... Oh, this is the quickest place to death abuse. So we do it twice here to get to 0 lives. And then death abuse one more time in the alt area. Just, because it's fastest. Just to do it this way. So... Back. Oh, I'm trying to remember what I was saying. Okay, I'm sure it'll come back to me. Oh, okay. Wow, I forgot again. Okay, well, I'll just play it by ear. So, okay, the souls. So you need in order to get A rank, aka 1 part slot. For using parts, you need to be A rank, and to be A rank you need 500 souls. For each boss you kill you get 200, so if we kill 2 bosses that'll give us 400, and if we grind out 13 nightmares that'll give us 104, or that'll give you 104. So 13 is 104, which will put you at 504, which is just over. So you can actually get one of them. If you wait around for the souls, they'll shrink and then disappear. But if you just run them shrink, then they'll only be worth 4. So you can grab 1 smaller. If you get 2 smaller, you're going to need to get an extra. But as you can see here, I did this right. So now you game over here, and hit return stage select, and then that's it. And 502, which is better than you can get if you were to fight 0. So it is faster regardless. So Heatnik's first in the out of the Mavericks, at least that's what I mean by first. Is pretty brutal. But through practice, me and a few others have been able to get it down pretty consistently, especially on easy, because on easy these donuts don't shoot at you, so it removes a lot of the RNG and a lot of the kind of randomness, so it makes it a lot more consistent, a lot more doable. So yeah, it's kind of just a mix of Saber and charge shots at the beginning, or when convenient, but Saber is really what you want to be going to here. And you can SDC is another thing with X's Saber, which is useful. But the reason we go this stage first is because I was saying, Unarmored X's Buster is very good. So we're gonna be getting a part called Ultimate Buster, which lets you shoot like all charge shots. So when you hit shoot, you just shoot a full charge shot. The downsides of it, though, are that you can't shoot any normal shots or half shots or anything like that, which kind of blows, but it's not a big deal. You lose like a little bit of time over not being able to do that, but overall it's a time save. And so that's the number one reason we do this stage first, is just for U-Buster. We've tried to route it in other ways, like you could maybe do Maginian first or something, but it doesn't really matter because you're still going to have to do this stage without any parts, and Maginian's weapon doesn't really help much, so you'd just be losing time from not having Saber Plus, or from not having Hyper Dash. So we have to go bottom route here because the Reploid in this room, he is a Ultimate Buster. So yeah, so with Ultimate Buster, I just realized something. So with Ultimate Buster, you actually can't, as I was saying, you can't shoot any normal, like, you know, half charges or lemons. And there is a slightly better upgrade called Quick Charge, but that is in Ground Scaravich's stage and one of the random teleporters, so it's not guaranteed, and you'd have to do the stage, and we're going to basically skip it later. We're going to do what's called totem skips to skip all the museum part of it and just clear the stage in around 30 seconds opposed to clearing it in like 4 minutes. So it saves a lot of time. So even though Quick Charge is better, U-Buster is just much more convenient and just more accessible overall, and you're not losing much time from over Quick Charge. So it's worth it. This guy is the one that's a real pain in the neck. So this run was really good. This is the best Heatniks I've ever had. I didn't die at all in the stage. Typically having 1 or 2 deaths is pretty typical, but this was a deathless stage, which is exceptionally good. This guy's kind of random on what side he shows up on. But yeah, I think I 5-cycled him here, which is pretty good. So yeah, overall just kind of SDCing. SDC is a Saber Dash Cancel or Sword Dash Cancel, or, you know, whatever you want to call it. Slash dash cancel. So what I'm doing is I'm hitting slash and then hitting dash, except something neat about this is because I have, as I mentioned earlier, rapid fire, and it does apply the Saber, I can just hold the button down and then just rhythmically tap dash, and it'll kind of do the hard work for me. And another thing is because Unarmored X can't charge weapons, so that's another reason why U-Buster isn't also bad, because you're not going to shoot charge weapons anyway, because Unarmored X can't charge weapons. So you just shoot standard weapons with that anyway. It only applies to your Buster, so it's not a big loss. And that also means that since we can't charge weapons, we don't have to turn rapid fire off. You can't charge weapons with rapid fire on anyway, so we can just leave it on the whole run. It doesn't matter. Typically in all stages, if you have it on, you need to take it off at some point in the run. You need to take it off before Heatniks, because you need to use Charge Metal Anchor, but that's irrelevant for this run. So this fight is just kind of some charge shots and Saber. Half shots, unlike an X4, aren't really super good from like X5 onward. Charge shots are still good, but especially in this game because we get the Saber and it's so fast, And it does about the same damage as a half shot, if not more, on certain bosses. So overall, if it's not a charge shot, you want to be doing Saber. And so yeah, that's how you do that fight. That's pretty good luck. Pretty good fight overall. Pretty dang clean. Alright, so this is the next stage, what I was talking about. So we're gonna do some clever tricks here. So I'll explain this up front. So another reason this routing is really complex in this category. We spent a few, maybe a weekish working on it, which is pretty long for a Mega Man X game. X6, let alone a Mega Man X game. But basically, because so there's this thing called nightmare effects, which are similar to the like effects in X1, where say you kill Storm Eagle and then Storm Eagle's plane crashes into a mandrill stage, making it dark and all that. So basically the same thing happens here, except it's like a lot more complex. But that's why a lot of people can think it's random, but it's not. It's completely manipulable. So what we did is another thing by going to Heatnix early. That put the nightmare effect for the fire on this stage, unlocking this passageway here. That way we can get to the thing here. Now we're going to use this nightmare to deboost down here, because you're not supposed to be able to go through there without, I guess, shadow armor, but I don't know if they intend to use blade too, but you could do that. But anyway, we just kind of do that. So we're going to use a fire here to get a clever deboost there. Again, not supposed to be able to make it across, but we can do that. And so you can hover back with fire, but that's very inconsistent because the fire can get bugged out really easily and it won't do the full animation, and if you're not prepared, it'll kill you, so it's not worth it. It also isn't even faster, like real time, and it probably doesn't even save that much in game time. So overall, it's just not worth it as a strat. This fight is a bit different than in all stages. We have much lower defense, and we actually have to worry about critical hits or big knockbacks. I'll point out when I get hit by one. So you take that faster. So that hit there, he got a big long knockback. That's why I call it a critical hit, because opposed to just normal hit stun, it has an extended animation. And you don't get those with Falcon, because Falcon has an obscenely high defense. Unarmored X does not, though. So that's kind of a problem in some areas. You got to work around that. Okay, so we're going to Sheldon because we already have our 13 Nightmare Souls, and we've already killed Heatnix, which is one boss. So we have 304 souls. So we just need to kill one more boss and we'll be good. This happens to be the shortest boss, and no weapons are really good on him anyway. So this will allow us to get our what we need real quick. That guy was a life up, by the way, so we increased our life a little bit. Didn't need that nightmare and just grabbed him anyway. Same with that one. So this stage is pretty basic. So I'm gonna explain why it says H dash, U buster, and jump. So those are obviously just notes for me. I missed a little cycle here. I got knocked back, so it didn't see me to the right. 8-second time loss. It kind of sucks, but not really a big deal. But the reason I have those are just abbreviations for hyper dash, U buster, and jumper. And so you may say, well, you just said that you had one item slot earlier, and one item slot would be for one part, right? Well, actually, no. We can do a frame perfect trick to dupe the menu. So we can select a part and exit the equipment, exit the menu on the same frame, and we can just do that 3 times, and that way we can equip up to 4 parts on one slot, but we only need 3. There's no other 4th one that we really care about right now, at least. I don't think we do add another, but Or that's not important anyway. You could just dupe once and then click on the second if you do 2 parts, but for this run we want 3, so we have to do it the frame perfect way 3 times in a row. It's kind of weird, but that's just how it is. So yeah, we're gonna dupe these 3 parts. You're gonna see me. You can tell if I got it because, oh, another thing. That's another reason for killing Zero earlier. If Zero isn't unlocked, it won't show his menu, and then you can't actually cancel out of the menu, so you can't do the equipment glitch. Kind of weird, but that's an unintended side effect of the route. So you'll see, you won't see Zero when the yellow flashes around it, so that means I got it. You can actually select a third, I believe, so I think that's what I did. But yeah, you dupe twice, click the third, or just dupe 3 times or whatever. Not really useful to do it that style in all stages because there's only 2 useful parts. But in runs like this and runs like Hundo, it is. So now we are extremely overpowered. We have Jumper, Hyperdash, and U-Buster, so we're basically a god now. As you can see, we jump really high, we're moving really fast, and our offense is really good too. So yeah, you can go down there for a little heart, but I don't need it. Slash to the far of that roly-poly, so you get iframe, so you can go through the spikes. Sadly, no Insui's on glitch in this run, but it's fine. X is a beast anyway. And so, gonna do a little mini trick here. So basically, there's a cooldown after you shoot every shot. You probably didn't notice it in the stage, but there's a cooldown. I can't just mash them out as fast as lemons, or just hold down the button with rapid fire. I can hold down the button, but they won't come out fast. So you can actually kind of trick the game by just deboosting like this. So then you shoot out quicker. That's kind of a workaround. And so yeah, that's pretty much how we're going to be dealing with a lot of bosses. Very quick, very speedy. Very nice. So now this stage, Wolfang, you can compare to how it was earlier with no parts, and now we're maxed out pretty much, which is crazy. You become very good very fast. So to elaborate on what I meant by hovering earlier, because you're going to see me use it a little. So the fire that I got from Lace Nix, it shoots out a little sword and then a little fire wave that comes out of it. And so what I mean by hover is it's sort of Mega Man 2 style, to where it stops your vertical velocity, or it restarts it or whatever, and allows you to just extend more horizontally that way. And so we can also use it just to stop in midair. And so we can use that for what we refer to as Tetris coming up, to climb a bit faster, and then a reverse Tetris, or whatever you want to call it at the end. But we have 2 Tetris little things here, and the climb at the end. So you might see it a little bit. Yeah, Jumper really helps here too. You can kind of do that, but if they're really stacking, see, I get fire out here. Yeah, that was a really risky third jump, but that was really good. So now you can probably gonna start using the fire. You have to get kind of lucky to climb really fast with this. They can't be far apart, but you can shoot a climb with this. This is not very easy. This is pretty tight. And if you get bad RNG, you're gonna lose time. You're not gonna save really any. But that was really good. They're all pretty close together. So he can either sit like a good doggy, or he can dive at you like Yamcha. So luckily he was nice. If he wasn't, I would have to get at a distance and hit him with a fire. If you hit him up close, it'll count as a normal saber hit. So you have to get far away to hit him with the wave. And when you do that, it'll reset his pattern, and then hopefully he'll sit. You can use it to finish also. Okay, as you saw there, it doesn't mean anything, but I'll just say it because I have nothing to say. So you saw that he was Metal Shark player was lit up red. That means he had a nightmare effect that was just activated within the last stage, or within clearing the last stage, and that effect was from Wolfang. So now there's going to be ice in the stage, but only in the second half, and it actually speeds it up a little bit, and it makes a very difficult trick kind of possible, but I'm not going to be going for it. So this is a cycle-based stage. There's or a crusher, as people refer to them as. So there's two crushers in X6. There's this one and then gate 3. Gate 3 was 0, so we don't actually see that here because we use X, which is neat. But yeah, so this is the crusher. This part is pretty simple. I'm just going through trying to make good cycles. There's a fast cycle you can make here. It's not really feasible with X because he doesn't have Ensui's on glitch. Another neat factoid about this stage is those blocks you saw back there that I destroyed on the PS2 version, on the PS2 X Collection version. For some reason, they instantly explode when they spawn, but only there. In this second area here, they don't. It's only in the first area of MSP. MSP is just an abbreviation for Metal Shark player. Pretty commonly used. Yeah, pretty clean cycles here. Nothing too fancy. So upcoming here, though, is a pretty infamous part of this run for anyone who's tried to do this. So basically, you can't just stand down here because there's spikes. So we're going to use this nightmare to deboost to get over. There is a way to do it without, but it's just way simpler. So we have to kill him and then go really fast to despawn him off screen, because he'll respawn since his soul is still there. You haven't stolen his soul, he'll respawn, and so he can chase you, and then while you're crouched, he can attack you, and that'll crush you, and you'll die instantly. So you have to be pretty careful there. Pretty difficult section right at the end there, but it's nothing can't handle with a little practice. Overall, pretty standard. One cycle isn't super feasible with X because of how low your defense is. It's not very worth it. So a 2 cycle like that is good any day. And yeah, as you can see, that last cycle is pretty brutal. I had 30 seconds to save here. I bet it was almost just because of that. Over my old PB. Another thing I'll elaborate on real quick. The reason, I'm not using in-game time slits is because the in-game times at the end of the stage are actually kind of inaccurate. As in, they're not reflective of like the in-game time it shows at the end of the game. What it shows you at the end of the game is not the same as what it'll show you when it says new record at the top. When it says that new record and stuff like that, it actually doesn't account for the boss fight for some reason. It's just the stage. So kind of weird. So I couldn't really add them up into a sum. In X5, it's not that way. For some reason, it does count the bosses, but in X6, it doesn't. So kind of weird, but just a little weird thing. And RTA is still, there's a lot of IGT games that use RTA as a timer, so nothing too extraordinary there. But yeah, it just tells you your IGT at the very end of the credits. So that's just what we do. 5-minute long credits, and you just wait for it. It's no biggie. Okay, so this is the totem skips I was talking about. So I'm whip out Ice Crush here, and then I'm going to stand in a specific spot and jump and shoot right after I jump, basically. You can do this with a well-timed air dash with Falcon, which is how it was originally found, but this method is actually easier and faster, and you don't have a dash jump. And so yeah, that was actually found somewhat recently, like maybe 3 years ago. The original totem skips were found back in 2013 though. But yeah, for a bit we thought that wasn't possible, but figured it out and you can do that. It's pretty free, easier than the normal ones. All you have to do is stand in a position and then just jump and shoot. It's really free. This fight is annoying. His iframes are wonky, as in you can see he turns around behind the rock and then starts to run again. And when he starts to run, his iframes gradually come back over the course of like 5 or 6 frames. But it's not really feasible to take advantage of that in real time with X. With Zero, there's some decent setups, but with X, there is no setups currently, and it's not very feasible anyway because of. It would be ideal to use his weakness, which is Yamark, and the way how that works is very difficult. 2266 is a very good IGT. Okay, Maginian. So this stage is pretty simple. I'm just going through the cycles here. Nothing big. By the way, text mashing is just all the buttons. It's just all the shoulders in the 4-button array. You just mash all those. So here we just use Saber. There's nothing really better to use on these, oddly enough. There's some good charged weapons, but again, we don't have access to those, so Saber is pretty much as good as we're going to get. So this fight is kind of weird. He's gonna go against the wall every like 3 or 4 charge shots, but he's not too difficult because we're really overpowered. But he is kind of an RNG boy, so you got to be careful. Can't be too aggressive. The walls are pretty good. Since you can attack from a distance. With Zero, you typically use his Z-Buster, which you can only use in the ground. So you have to be a lot more precise and just a lot. There's just a lot more going on, but pretty simple fight with X. That's another reason for doing Maginian later also, as the fight is a bit faster. Even though actually he has more health because he has more health because he's a higher level and that gives him slightly more health. But with U-Buster it just annihilates him, so it doesn't matter. We do Turtloid last just because he doesn't really have too many. He's kind of an annoying boss. We want Maginian's weapon for him if he's annoying. So that's pretty much the main reason he's last, is for Maginian's weapon. But yeah, he's just a really weird boss in general. Probably make some improvements on the boss fight, but it's really hard. It's just really awkward for Unarmored X. This is about the only sluggish thing in the run, as I'd say the Turtloid boss fight. There's no good way around it. Everything else is pretty good, pretty quick. Yeah, as you can see, X is just an absolute monster in this run. It's ridiculous. This run is possibly my favorite category for X6. I don't know. I really like All Stages Easy. This is a really slick, really good run, but this one is damn good too. I almost died by bonking, but I hovered. So this is a good example of hovering. I don't know why. I could have used the rock, the ground dash, which is better for hovering. But yeah, you can go between um, fire. I can't remember what this is called, but this and ground dash, which is the rock you get from Scaravich. Yeah, those charge shots really clear it out there, make it really, really damn fast. Snipe from the corner. 2 charge shots and the generator's down. Another thing to note about the whole cooldown thing with the U-Buster, it actually does apply to your saber. It applies to everything. You can't attack at all. So if you need to do like a saber, say like a saber, most of a saber slash in a fully charged shot would kill a generator. You'd want to do the saber first because yeah. Okay, so yeah, this fight's kind of weird. Just gonna try to destroy his shells and then just with charge shots and EMR and then just hit him with charge shots as much as we can. You can't one cycle him, it's not possible, but at best you could get pretty quick right before 2 cycles. So you can kind of pierce his hitbox with some wonky movements. You can do that. So yeah, you kind of have to adjust, see what works, get a good sweet spot. But yeah, that's the reason I wanted Ray Arrow, because if I would have to just open up his shield, his crystals again, and then attack him with U-Buster, which would be a pain. So that's the #1 reason why you want that. 110 is pretty good. Nightmare Mother. So Nightmare Mother is like the curse of like X6. A lot of people really hate it with like a burning passion and really, really struggle with it even in speedrunning. But Nightmare Mother is pretty much a pushover here. Nothing really difficult. Pretty simple. Same as every other boss, honestly. You just pump it full of charge shots and gone. So something interesting here. We actually have to use Ice Crush to stand up here. So yeah, the reason I'm jumping up right here is to despawn the Ice Crush so I can shoot another. Only one can be on screen at a time, and it gives me a good chance to kill the wolves, but I mean, that's not really needed. But yeah, I just equip EMR option because it's a good shield and it's pretty offensive. And just go to town. Climbing here is a locker because you don't have a double jump, but jumper is nice so you can make do. You can also grind for health, but we have a lot of health in this run. We have 2 sub tanks and a pretty beefy health bar, even though we do have a pretty low defense. But anyway, yeah, you don't really necessarily need to grind for health there. Just more about clearing it pretty quickly. Also, you got tons of time to clear on these because this is an auto-scroller from here on. Yeah, so this is an auto-scroll right here. You just wait for it to climb. Yeah, so this fight, kind of a CFO strat. CFO is the intro boss next to, kind of in the strat where you hit him with a dash shot from a far, and that gives you more time to charge up a charge shot. And it inherently takes the same amount of time, but it gives you more time to charge, therefore being slightly faster. So yeah, by CFO I mean that it's kind of similar because we're gonna drop his weakness here, Metal Anchor. We're gonna drop one on him, and then just go in with charge shots. This wasn't a very good pattern right here, but it's not a big deal. Nightmare Mother isn't a big concern. If you get a 4-cycle, that's like standard. Um, Kind of a difficult boss. Not a huge deal, honestly. Yeah, as you can see, that was a better pattern. I did a lot more damage. Okay, so I popped a life recover. So what life recover is basically a sub tank, except it auto refills every stage. So I can just use it here, and it's not even gonna cost me anything. My sub tank I would have to refill, but this life recover I don't. That's why it's the most valuable special weapon or special part by far. All the other ones pale in comparison because it's literally a free sub tank that refills every single stage. So it's really good. Um, but its definition of every stage is kind of weird. As in, you don't actually teleport back to the stage select after Hymax. In between Hymax and Gate, they're considered the same stage. Therefore, if you use your life recover on Hymax, you won't be able to on Gate. So yeah, that's kind of something you have to look out for. Kind of risky jump back there, but it's fast. Okay, so right up coming up here, this is basic movement. When it gets into a straightaway hallway, I actually don't want to dash jump. I'm going to do crouch dashes. One, they're faster in general, but I'm actually doing kind of a setup. So I'm trying to skip most of the stage here, but also I'm trying to despawn this totem to the left here, right there. That would be there. You despawn him by doing a specific set of movements. And getting up there is pretty difficult, but no biggie. And then jump. And I kind of got lucky that Nightmare helped me out. I was kind of in a sticky situation, but he helped me out. So my health is garbage, to say the least. And Hymax is not as much of a pushover as he is with Zero. We can't just destroy him with Guard Shell. We kind of have to just mash EM-Arc and... oh, yeah. Rapid Fire doesn't apply to EM-Arc. You still have to mash it. So yeah, you have to mash EM-Arc and then mash and just hold down the charge button or standard shoot button and then mash alt fire. And hopefully you can stun him like this and get some and just clear out these shields real good, but he's not always so kind. So yeah, I got good RNG. And I actually go for a few risky hits here. I hit him with the as you can see, the Yamar, like a little bug. And that's because with all the few, I think there's one weapon up we grab on the way. But basically, we don't have enough just to kill him with a Ray Arrow, which is the most convenient weapon for him by far. Every other weapon, like, doesn't... All of them go, like, vertical or do something wacky. This is just the best one to hit him with. They all do the same damage, but this is the best one. So we have to do 2 extra hits, aside from all the Ray Arrow ammo we have. Or 3, it doesn't matter. But yeah. That's why I did a few hits. But that's really risky because the hitbox on those are big. And if those balls he's chunking at you, if you hit them with like anything, they'll explode into 4 smaller balls that'll all follow you. And they all do the exact same damage as the big one. So they're 4 times as scary. More like 18 times, but yeah, they're really dangerous. So that's a really risky strat because that if one happened to graze you, it would hit the bug and then it would split and you would be not in a good position. So yeah, you got to be really, really careful about that. Yeah, also the sprites are glitched out right now. Don't know why, but yeah. So this is what's referred to as the impossible jump. You can actually make it with standard stuff, but I do 1 hover just in case. You're supposed to have hyper dash and a jumper to be able to make it, but if you don't, you can just hover with fire / ground dash. Even with, you probably should just to make it safer. So yeah. And there I did fire and then a charge shot to kill the generator. Okay, now this is Gate. So the way I'm going to be fighting Gate is I'm going to use my Saber mostly. Fire's okay, but it'd just be better to use Saber because 1, it doesn't have ammo attached to it, and 2, it doesn't have a projectile, and it's just reliable. So I'm be standing in the middle platform, and then the one that gate is on right now, all the way to the right. You'll see once it lights up. Um, and these are good positions because one's near the wall, which kind of sucks. But this one here is really good because we can do that. So you can just bait the balls to coming towards the middle and then just jump back and then get free damageless hits. You can get damageless hits on the wall, but they're more difficult, as in that you have to space out your slashes in a good way to where they graze over you and you don't take damage. You'll see what I mean a bit here. But it's not as easy as it looks. That is free. All you do is SDC and then jump away. So here, there I messed up. I slashed it too high and too fast. You need to like barely nick it at the very bottom in order to barely kill it right when you're really low on the wall. That way it won't hit you. But yeah, it's pretty tough. So that's why you want to go the middle. It just makes it easier. And it's faster because gate is going between the middle platform and the right platform instead of from the right to the left, which would be slower. So yeah, that's what I mean by barely nicking it. It's the hitbox doesn't look like it reaches, but it does. Saber hitbox is kind of wacky. But yeah, if you do this, you're not at really any big threat of gate. Your health is pretty decent, and even if you're not, as long as you don't... Like, I wouldn't recommend wasting a tank, but a life recover if you haven't used it yet, that's free game. You could use a tank, but, I mean, you probably just shouldn't. Because it'll be helpful for the boss rush. The boss rush is really obnoxious, so... Yeah, pretty easy fight. So yeah, that shield can destroy platforms. I thought it was about to destroy that one there, so I jumped back as a precaution. So he has one hit left. So yeah, this guy's kind of the biggest like RNG point in like any X6 run. He's really annoying, but yeah, he was pretty decent for me there. Wasn't so bad. Could be better, could be worse. Don't have much to complain about. Okay, boss rush. So I can't remember if I do Heat Nix first or Magician first, so we'll see. But those are the two routes you can do. Typically Heat Nix first. Okay, I do Heat Nix first. It doesn't really matter, honestly. But if you don't have a sub-tank, any sub-tanks, like an all stages easy, optimal route at least, you should be doing Heat Nix first because it allows you to grab the hearts or the life at the top more conveniently. But it's kind of debatable whether or not Heat Nix is first. Heat Nix first is faster than Magician first, even if you never revisit the top. It's kind of just debatable, but it doesn't really matter. So you start spitting. This is what you want. You want them to stay up as long as possible. So that was like okay. Pretty decent RNG. So as you can see, he was bad. So you hit him with the fire, and now he stays on the ground, which is good. Accidental split there. Yeah, I said the sub tank because started firing at me, so I just popped the sub tank. I probably could have survived it, but it's just better. So yeah, I didn't even get the health. So again, Maginian, same old, same old. Pretty much most of the bosses are the same. There's a few that are a little bit different, but overall they're basically the same. Yeah, like you saw, Heatnix is a little bit different just because you have U-Buster. Overall, really good fight. My health is extraordinarily good, and that was pretty fast. That's kind of the thing you're looking for with a Maginian refight. Like, was it pretty fast, and how good's your health? Because it can be fast as hell, but if you've no health, then it wasn't a good fight. So, yeah, if you get a mediocre fight, but you have, like, ludicrously high health, I would consider that a good fight. Speed is not necessarily, like, 100% like what you're looking for. You want good health, and all of that speed and health is just up to RNG, whether just how well you execute and with what he gives you. And that's just how it is. Yeah, pretty slightly faster fight. That's pretty much how it is with all these guys. Just slightly faster fights. Not really too much. It's probably the most boring part of the run. Like in all stages, you get to see some semi-new strats, and even if you don't, they're really fast fights. This one, I mean, it's not too much slower. It's like a minute slower. It's just kind of boring. Turtleoid's kind of annoying again. No really amazing way to deal with him. Just kind of got a Yamar. I accidentally hit him with a piece of Yamar instead of the Buster. It's kind of screwed me over. Yeah, if his health was like half of that, I might try to Ray Arrow. But considering how high it was, it just wasn't worth it. It's just better to break his shield again. Pretty standard fight. Nothing really going on. MSP is also the same after this, so it'll get a bit more exciting. That's the end of the game. That's the end of the boss rush. Finally. Most obnoxious part of the run. And yeah, you get to see how weirdly this climb is because of Hyper Dash and Jumper. I keep thinking Saber Plus. That's how it is in standard all stages with Zero. You're just typical chaining crouch dashes. Nothing unusual. Grind for a little bit of health off these bats, because why not? And yeah, for both these fights, we're not going to use anything special. We're just going to use standard X. We're going to U-Buster this guy to death. Not going to bonk him. Don't want to get close. Hobo Stigma has a higher percentage of jumping back and doing all sorts of gnarly stuff that'll lose you time. The closer you are to him and the more damage you do in like a quick amount of time. That's why guard shell is the worst on him. He coughed, which is annoying, but it's not really a problem on X. It doesn't really, you don't have to shoot on the ground, so it doesn't really bother you. But yeah, pretty standard fight. Pretty good. Didn't really jump. Nothing to complain about. And final Sigma, we just want him to open his mouth as soon as possible. And then he'll be dead. And that's that. Yeah, this fight's pretty long. With 0, my segment here is typically like 40-ish seconds. A minute at worst. But here, it's kind of interesting. So basically, he can do this. So this is what you want right now. So you sit in the corner with guard shell just to block stuff. But here, you just want to go in. So we want to make sure he's above half health. I make sure that he's not below or at half health. If he is within that threshold, he'll just shoot these pink balls that just screen nuke the screen for just in forever, just until you're dead, basically. So the best way to go about it is get all you can in one cycle, and then wait for him to give you vertical beams again, and then just go in and just kill him, and that's the end of it. I could go early for a bit of deboosting, but it doesn't really matter. He's going to be out for at least enough cycles, and there you go. 51:36. Pretty dang good time. So I'm going to show here, as you can see, this is YouTube, but anyway. 50, oh geez, wait. Whoa. Okay. Okay. So, it's 52 right now, and these say 56. So after you skip this, you're in the credits now. And these credits are about 4 minutes. It's pretty long, as you can see. So to wait for the in-game time, it's 4 minutes, which is kind of annoying, but like it can be skipped if needed. Like if the run is like a 57 and it's garbage, I don't care. But if it's a lower time, I'd prefer to watch the credits because there's no other way to tell the in-game time than from waiting. Wait till the end here. Capcom screen. It fades to black. And boom, 27:41. And yeah, that's my commentary for Summer Games Done Quick. Oh jeez. Hopefully sufficient.